Hey guys, welcome to another edition of our Children's Ministry Podcast. This year we have been focusing on this emphasis of shine, coming from Matthew chapter 5 verses 16, where it says, "In the same way let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So this idea that we want to help kids shine so that people see God in their good. We want to help kids shine so that people see God in their good. And one of the ways that we can do that, and one way that I want to talk about today is what do you do when you have a kid in your class or in your ministry or in your group that just doesn't really care about the things of God, that they're indifferent to the things of God, that maybe they're dropped off because mom and dad, or they were just coming along with a buddy after a sleepover, or whatever that is. What do we do? When I was first serving in children's ministry, there was a kid in my ministry, we'll call him Jimmy, and Jimmy was a kid that was very disinterested or very indifferent to the things of God. And he, as a result, with his indifference, would be very disruptive to the class. He would make rude and crude jokes during the teaching time. He would throw things like at the person leading worship during worship time. I remember one time he even threw a chair at me. Now, if you've seen me play softball, you know I'm not a good catch, but I am coordinated enough to where if somebody tosses a chair at me, I can either catch it or I can move out of the way. And so in this case with Jimmy, I was able to move out of the way. But those years with him in the ministry that I led at that time were very tough because he was so indifferent and it was hard to make that connection with him. But we kept investing in him and loving in him and praying for him and just doing those things. Well, a few years down the road, I bumped into him as he was getting ready to head into high school. So he had graduated our ministry, was getting ready to graduate into our junior high ministry, and was getting ready to head off into high school. And I noticed a change in Jimmy. He didn't do a complete 180 like I probably would have liked, or even his parents would have liked, or his dad. But I noticed that there was a difference in him, that there was less indifference, and I could tell that God had made more of a difference in him, or that he had allowed God to make a difference in him. And that story of Jimmy is just really was a great reminder for me that I also want to pass on to you of this principle, that indifference is our greatest opportunity to make a difference. Indifference is our greatest opportunity to make a difference. And Jesus talks a little bit about this in Matthew 9, verses 12 through 13. Let me read that to you really quickly. On hearing this, some complaints that the Pharisees had about him hanging out with some tax collectors and sinners, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick." Like, how many of us go to the doctor when we're healthy? We don't do that. We go to the doctor when we're sick. Jesus goes on to say, "But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." And here's what Jesus is saying. I'm not here for the people that have their act together. I'm not here for the religious people or the people that think they don't need me or are following these rituals. I am here for the sick, for the sinners, for the people that need me. I'm not here for the good people. And sometimes when we work at a church or in a church or volunteer in a church, we think we're here. We expect all the people to be good, that the kids that come in, that, man, they've been saved since birth. And we know that's not true, that's not how it works. But sometimes when a kid comes in and they're indifferent or they're disruptive, we think, wow, we're in a church. Why aren't you more well behaved? But when we take a step back, or when we reflect on these words of Jesus, we realize that those are the kids that we're here for. Because the kids that are the good kids are already doing good. And honestly, they're getting what they need at home, and it's important that they're here, but they don't need us as much as the Jimmies of the world. Those kids that are indifferent to the Word of God, or indifferent to His Word and to the ministry that we're trying to do here. So this week and this month, as you're in your group, in your class, and you've got a kid who is indifferent and just seems like they could care less, remember that their indifference is your greatest opportunity to make a difference. Keep loving them, keep patient with them, keep praying for them, and don't give up on them. Because when you don't give up on them, when you keep doing those things, you will make a difference in their lives.